Good afternoon. This is the clerk with a courtesy announcement that we are waiting for one more member to achieve a quorum, and the meeting will start in approximately 15 minutes.
Call the meeting to order. Okay. Roll call, please.
Good afternoon. Member Williams? Member Klein is absent. Member Estremera?
Present.
Member Gomez?
Present.
Member Chim is absent. Member Snow?
Present.
And Member Pascal is absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, now it's time open for any members of the public that might want to address us on any issue that's not on the calendar today.
We have no speaker cards, Mr. Chair.
Great. We'll move right along to election of the chair and vice chair.
Pardon me, Mr. Chair. You have to do the consent calendar first. We skipped item number 3.
Okay. All right, we'll do the consent calendar. You wanted to, Bob?
Yes, and through the chair, if I could remove items 10 and 11 from the consent calendar for regular discussion in order.
All right. We'll start with 10, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, through the chair, I meant remove items 10 and 11 from consent, but just follow the regular agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, just in order.
All right, we'll do that. I don't have,
I can display the agenda if you need to see it, Mr. Chair.
yeah, I can't,
One moment, please.
I think. It's not, the calendar's not in front of me, just so everybody knows.
We're here on item number 3.
Thank you. All right, then we'll go with 4.
You need to take a vote on that, Mr. Chair. You need to approve the consent calendar. That needs a vote.
All right, is there a motion? Approve the consent calendar with the,
Yeah, I
taking
make a
those items
motion,
out?
make a motion to approve consent calendar with the exception of 10 and 11 for the regular agenda.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Those for motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say no. Abstentions? Okay, passes.
Mr. Chair, I apologize for interrupting. We need to take a voice
sorry,
vote.
you said
That's
roll
okay.
call.
That's okay. Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Estremera?
Aye.
Member Gomez?
Aye.
Member Snow?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move right along to number 4, adopt resolution to elect chair and vice chair.
I would like to nominate Tony Estremera to continue as chair and to nominate Dave Snow to continue as vice chair.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Any other motions? Okay, there's second.
I second.
Okay, motion is second. Those for motion then say aye when clerk calls on us.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Estremera?
Aye.
Member Gomez?
Aye.
Member Snow?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your confidence despite my tardiness today. Again, I apologize. I had an emergency at home. That's the only way I could get here, so I'm catching up. But we'll move right along then to item 5, adopt resolution to approve the administrative budget for the redevelopment agency, the city of Sunnyvale. I imagine we have some representatives from the city here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, members of the board.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, my name is Tim Kirby. I'm the Director of Finance for the City of Sunnyvale. And with me is John Nagel, our city attorney.
Good afternoon.
So we don't have a presentation today, but we're available to answer any questions. And then we wanted an opportunity to comment on the county's objection to line 17 of our ROPS.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Mr. Williams?
Well, so
Okay.
if we're on item number 5, I don't believe there's questions, although it could relate overall to item 6. So 6 is where I had most of my comments. So I don't know on a roll call vote, can we hear them together?
That's at the discretion of the chair.
Yeah.
You are certainly allowed to hear
Makes
them
sense.
together if you'd
Fair.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's handle them together because we have representatives here. So if there's no questions on 5, then we'll go to 6. There's questions on 6.
Sure. So I can hold my questions until staff wants to provide comments on specifically number 6, the county's objection.
Yes, my name is John Nagel. I'm the city attorney in Sunnyvale.
And we have several points we would like to raise. The first is we think the County Counsel's Office is misinterpreting the statute for a number of reasons. The first reason is that the successor agency is actually a signatory to the compensation agreements, and therefore, since they are signatory to the agreement, they should be entitled to comment on the agreement, and therefore, it is a proper administrative expense for them to have staff and legal advice on whether or not they should agree to terms of the compensation agreement or not. The second point is the nature of the compensation agreements as it relates to the development agreements that the state has already approved, and which is generally referred to as Mr. ADOPA. Mr. ADOPA is an agreement that will last to 2115. And as part of Mr. ADOPA, the parking garages, which are the subjects of the compensation agreements, are required to be dedicated to public parking, and the operator, who's also the developer of the project, is not only built them at no expense to the any of the taxing entities, they operate them at no expense to any of the taxing entities. And so that the compensation agreements are tied directly to a obligation that the successor agency will have until 2115, and that's important for a number of reasons, which we talked to this body, I don't know how long ago, when we made a presentation about environmental liability. It is not at all certain that the successor agency will ever be able to dissolve, because as part of Mr. ADOPA, the successor agency has agreed to compensate the developer for 50% of the remediation costs at the one of the garages that are contaminated. And so therefore, it's so intertwined in terms of the compensation agreements and Mr. ADOPA that we think it's an appropriate expense for the successor agency to be compensated. The other thing is that the language of the statute talks about future redevelopment, and as I've just discussed, there is no future redevelopment assessed with these garages. These garages are part of an existing development they've been built for years and have been operating for years or subject to a lease for years. So it's not as if we're using it because we're going to be funding or supporting a future development. It's based in the obligations we already have under Mr. ADOPA. Oops, excuse me. And the other thing that we found surprising, and goes back to one of the earlier points I made, is that the county took the first step at drafting the compensation agreements, and the county included the successor agency as a signatory. And as we understand it, successor agencies have traditionally been a party to compensation agreements in the past. We know for certain that it was in Mountain View. We believe it's in San Jose. San Jose will obviously be speaking later. And we believe there are other cities. So it seems kind of odd that the county counsel's office would be using an agreement that has the successor agency as a party, and then many years later, all of a sudden decide, oh, but there should be no administrative expenses associated with that entity being a party to the compensation agreement that we drafted. And I think that's basically all the points we have, unless you want to say something, Tim.
No, that's all. That was perfectly covered.
Thank you, David.
Okay. So I think I'm following along with your logic, and while they may be valid points, I'm not in a position today where I understand the legal interpretation. We'd have to go back through. Did council want to chime in?
Yes, Council.
Yes, so I'll respond to that. I don't think the county is saying that the successor agency doesn't have any role whatsoever in a compensation agreement, but their role is very limited. Pretty much all they would be directed to do is to transfer the property to whoever, the compensation agreement is, provides. So the real terms of the deal are in the interest of the entity or person who would receive the property, which in this case would be the city of Sunnyvale. So even though there may be legitimate de minimis expenses associated with a compensation agreement that would be incurred by the successor agency, the bulk of the attorney and staff time would be properly attributed to the city of Sunnyvale, in our opinion.
Thank you. And so along those lines and with that, understanding that this is an interpretation by Department of Finance that albeit might be a recent decision, I'm not inclined to approve funds in a ROPS budget to be used for compensation agreements. And so what I could look at is trying to look at the last round, and perhaps successor agency staff can help with it, but if we look at specifically line number 17, the recognized obligation payment schedule, the last ROPS for line 17 did have a budgeted amount, I believe. Is that correct?
The last ROPS had it listed as 50,000.
50,000. And so
The same.
what I would be inclined to do is look at the actual spend in that line, and we could amend this ROPS line 17 to reflect what that value would be. And then with the understanding that no costs in the actuals for this ROPS period would reflect compensation agreement fees or costs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for clarification, you're looking at the actuals from the most recent ROPS?
Correct. And so if they were budgeted 50,000 and they spent 10,000, then this new ROPS period that we're looking at for line number 17, my recommendation would be to budget $10,000. If that was a different value based on actuals,
Tim, do you have the actual? Mr. Kirby, do you have?
Well, we don't have the actuals with us, but keep in mind that $50,000 is almost the bulk of it is related to the environmental compliance. The administrative costs are very small. I think to peel out what might have been time that might have been spent on compensation agreements is going to be difficult on a look back because we don't track our time to that granular of a level. But even if we did, I would say we're already, based on most of the costs of the 50, the planned 50 being related to environmental, we're already at a pretty de minimis amount already. And I can't imagine that we would be reducing it by more than, $1,000, $1,500 in that range.
so you're saying your actuals for the last period would have been 49,000 or 49,500-ish?
No, our actuals are lower than that, but that's largely because the environmental work didn't happen. Because the actual monitoring currently, especially not to get into too many of the details, but with the drought, the plume is pretty stable at this point. And so the monitoring costs are pretty manageable and have been lower. The remaining costs associated with, I can break out like all the costs that are not related to that. I guess what I'm saying is I can't peel apart those costs that are related to just direct administration of the development agreement versus what might have been spent time talking about compensation agreements.
So, okay. I was trying to put my mind around this because, again, I'm not comfortable with approving costs for the compensation agreement, and it would make sense that even if we budgeted an amount that was lower than your actuals for this period, there is an opportunity for you to come back, and I believe it's the September timeframe for a true-up. So I'm thinking I'll turn it over to my colleagues for comment.
Any comments, Mr. Williams?
I guess I'm less concerned with the dollar amount since it appears that even though we authorized, 50,000, that isn't the amount that they actually billed because they didn't have 50,000 worth of expenses. So I guess I'm a little less concerned about the dollar amount than Dave is. I agree with him that I think that there should be little to no costs associated with the compensation agreement on the basis of county council's evaluation. I'm not going to, if it's the will of the rest of the council to limit it, as David suggested, I wouldn't oppose that. On the other hand, I'm not pushing for it.
See enough nodding heads. What's your suggestion, Dave?
Let me just look through some information.
Through the
Give me
chair,
one second.
I could just add one more thing. I think the most recent PPA is currently under review, and that might be the actuals, that's the actuals he might be referring to, and that was around, what, 38,000? Or, do we have the most recent?
Do we have
prior
auditor
period
controller
adjustment?
staff here who can answer some questions?
I apologize. I had gotten a text and I wasn't listening at the same time. If you could repeat the question.
Oh, the question was related to the prior period adjustment, the actuals. For item number 17.
So the recent PPA for Sunnyvale is about 38,000.
38,000. And that's what you spent, but that's what you spent on the last
Gotcha.
PPA, right?
Total was 8,000?
38,000.
38,000.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say 8,000 didn't sound right to me.
Sounds better.
Okay, well, given that it appears there was 50,000 budgeted, 38,000 spent, albeit it could be a lower number, given that we're not in a position today to understand the nuances of what's an allowable cost, other than what Department of Finance has put out there at this point, I would be inclined to approve the recognized obligation payment schedule for City of Sunnyvale, amending line 17 from 50,000 to 40,000.
Okay, is there a second? All right.
Second.
Motion is second, then with that amendment, we'll have a roll call.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Estromera?
Aye.
Member Gomez?
Aye.
Member Snow?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just for clarification, those on 5 and 6.
And through the chair, I think we
Yes.
have to do them separately.
Okay.
So that one was related to item number 6, and then you still have the admin budget.
We'll come back to 5 then.
Yeah, 5 was the
All right.
admin budget.
All right. Make a motion on 5.
I move to approve 5 as it exists.
Yes, and second?
I can second.
Yes, and second. All right, we'll have a roll call on that. 5.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Estromera?
Aye.
Member Gomez?
Aye.
Member Snow?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 7, 8, 9. All right, then we'll go to 10. Adopt resolution to approve the administrative budget of the redevelopment agency of the city of San Jose. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Julia Cooper, CFO for the Successor Agency and Director of Finance for the city. I have with me Kevin Fisher, who's the Assistant City Attorney. So we understand you may have some questions on our admin budget, so we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think what we were trying to look at was the admin budget, specifically the attorney's costs under the highlighted senior deputy city attorney within your staff report, and also the director of economic development.
Yeah, so those additional costs, as you recall, we had a presentation to the Oversight Board back in September about looking at moving the CCNRs and the DDAs off of the successor agency over to city obligations. So those additional costs are related to that. So there is a memo in the follow-up memo, I believe it's item number 13 in your packet, that goes through in detail about the work effort that we anticipate doing during fiscal year 23-24 to essentially move those obligations over to the city side to reduce the administrative costs to the successor agency. So that's what those additional costs are that are built into the admin budget for fiscal year 23-24.
Thank you. So, consistent with the conversation we had on the previous agenda item, I think I'm comfortable moving those forward with the explanation that's within the report, provided that the actuals would not reflect work of those positions dedicated to specifically compensation agreements for the same reasons.
Yeah, I mean, we would expect any work associated with the compensation agreement for the Billy DeFrank to be very, very de minimis related to economic development in the city attorney's office.
Okay. So I'm comfortable moving that forward as is.
I'll take a motion.
Yeah, so I would move to accept the agenda item number 10.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. No further questions? All right, we'll have a roll call, please.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Estromero?
Aye.
Member Gomez?
Aye.
Member Snell?
Yes.
Thank you.
And now we'll go to 11 on the ROPS, City of San Jose.
I don't have any questions.
Any questions? Is there a motion then?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Any discussion? All right, we'll take a roll call.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Estromero?
Aye.
Member Gomez?
Aye.
And Member Snell?
Yes.
Thank you.
Then 12, receive the report.
Nope. I think that's still on consent.
The rest of the items are on consent, Mr. Chair.
The
So I
only
think
10
we
and
can
11.
adjourn.
Got it. Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much. City of San Jose with them. 12, 13.
Yeah, I think we can move to adjourn.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Move to adjourn. I know we got to give up the space.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much, and thanks for your indulgence. I appreciate it. I'm sorry about that.
You got us through on time, Tony. That's all counts.
Yeah, sorry about that. And I will sign on the amendment. Is it okay? You don't have to change anything?